welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Good morning, afternoon or night, whatever time of day it is that you're watching the video. So before I start my video itself, there's two things that I need to say. The first, I am so sorry about not posting for the past, I think it's 2 weeks. My mind hasn't been in the proper place to make a video. I think it would be unfair to do a video and my heart wasn't really in it. So I apologize for that. I know I'm supposed to be posting at least once a week, so I'm so sorry for those who actually reached out and asked me where's the next video. Thank you, I appreciate that a lot. You know yourself, or yourselves. So yes, that's the very first thing. And the second thing is we know that the Black Lives Matter movement is going on throughout the US, but a lot of people are showing that they stand with them. I do stand with them. I know some people come across and say stuff like it is white based and and whoever's spending it. I think that we should all understand that no matter who is spending, it's more of a matter of we are black, we are descendants of black. Yes, we are in the Caribbean, so we don't get it as bad, but we need to realize that we have cousins, brothers, sisters, relatives in those countries where racism is more predominant, and they may wake up one day and go for a jog or go for be in their own home, post and chill, and they can be a victim of racism, so we need to understand that as well. I'm going to provide a link in the bottom if you want to sign a petition. There are a lot of petitions going around. We are able to sign and to submit as well, so I'm going to put a link to a link. I don't know what just happened. I'm going to put a link to the bottom for a petition, one of those petitions, so if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and sign. So that is the two things that I wanted to say. I don't want this video to be too long. I actually have worked in an hour, but also because a lot is going on right now, I don't want people to think that it's a selfish thing, I guess, to try and do something or to like block out what's happening. I think everybody should take a minute to realize what's happening. I also know that the curfew is now for St. Lucia up to 12 to midnight, so I know people are actually out more, so I don't want to bore anybody. So without further ado, I think it's time for us to start our video. Right. So also before I start the video, it's part of the video, I wanted to say that and I can't remember now. So you know what, I'm going to start my video and then maybe somewhere in there I'm going to remember what it was and I will point that out. Oh yes, actually remember now. For those who are new, please remember that the type of videos that I do are information based. If you want to discuss something, feel free to go ahead and put it in the comments. Feel free to send me an email, a message, whichever way you can contact me to let me know what it is that you're interested in me speaking about. I have absolutely no problem in sharing the information that I found out with you, and if it is information that you wish to be spoken of, why not? Let's have a discussion. That's not a problem. Please remember the three things I do not discuss: politics, religion, and LGBT community. As usual, I may have said that wrong, but by now you know what I'm talking about. So again, let's get into the video. So today's video is actually going to be toxic people. I think this is an appropriate topic based on a lot of what's happening in the world. I see this thing people sending around, remember the friends who checked on you in this situation, in this pandemic. That's not true. Whoever is thinking of who's checking on them in this situation where the whole world is suffering from it, that person is selfish, and that's also that's an example of being just toxic. Like, nobody is supposed to be thinking of a specific individual other than yourself, your immediate family, the health and safety of those persons. Of course you think of your family and friends, but that's second to the people around you immediately. So the people sending that, even that's a form of toxicity. You get the point. I'll put the word up. But that is actually what inspired me mainly. That was one of the topics, but it was inspiring me to do this right now because I see a lot of people posting that, and I think it's wrong and selfish. So I said, let me just do a little video on that. So for us to begin, toxic people are people I define as people who drain you mentally, emotionally, probably physically too, spiritually. People who just take and they are not able to give. They only give negativity, bad advice, bad vibes, if that's what you understand it as. Just people who just take, and they really have nothing to give, which I think I've mentioned people like that throughout the videos, to be wary of persons like that and stuff like that. But today I'm probably going to give you a little explanation about what type of people you could consider as toxic, as well as a few tips to deal with or eventually get away from that, so that you could just focus on your own vibe and like what it is that, again, brings only positivity to you. So I broke it down into 3 categories. The first one is toxic parents or family, toxic relationships, that is a actually intimate relationship, and then toxic friends. So family, we all know the saying, and yes, of course I'm looking down at my book, we all know the saying that blood is thicker than water, and you know, it's always it's your family, so no matter what they do, it's okay, you can deal with it, you can sort it out, forgive them and move on. That is, I don't know how to censor a word, so that's BS. That is not necessary. No matter who the person is, if they're not good for you, they're just not good for you, and you should not be around them, or you shouldn't waste your time and energy around that person if they're not doing anything to contribute to you positively. So it doesn't matter if they're blood. Also, everybody knows that there's a lot of people who treat you more like family than your very own blood. So that is the most BS statement that I think it's stuck, got passed from generation to generation with us saying that nonsense, and that's just ridiculous. So how to spot somebody or a family member who is toxic? These people constantly think that everything you're doing is wrong. What you're doing makes no sense, it's wrong, it's a waste of time, you shouldn't do it, it's not going to bring you anywhere. Whereas you know deep down, and there are other people, your friends, people who support you really, telling you that it's okay, and it's something they think you can do, and it's something that's interesting, and it's something that can benefit you. Once there's this huge set of people and yourself saying that it's something you think you should do, and then there's just like one person, that person is easily spotted as the toxic person who probably just doesn't want you to go anywhere in life. So that's one way to spot them. Then there's always, when you spot them, you know they're there, you need to get rid of them. Very simple. You distance yourself. That's a very first thing. Distance yourself from people like that, because it's very explanatory. What is the point of having someone around you who is going to do nothing but take from you and basically put you down in any way possible, whether it's for their own selfish gain, just to see you down, whether it's for just because they don't want you to go anywhere out of jealousy. Distance yourself from that person. That's your very first step. So if you do things that usually include them, maybe you should not. You don't need to do it one time, but little by little, you just try your best to not be around that person, not be around the vibe, because it's not going to do anything for you. It's probably just going to depress you at the end of the day, because you're probably, that person may be really close, so their opinion really matters to you, and it may cause you to feel really sad at the end of the day. So I think that's the first thing, is to distance yourself from those persons. Keep yourself, well, not yourself, but keep what it is that you plan to do to yourself. And not just to yourself, but if you notice that that person is always telling you not to do it, or it doesn't make sense, maybe you should try discussing with other people, people you see in the past have given you good advice, has given you non-biased advice as well. You could probably go to people like that to ask them like how it is that you go about doing whatever it is. Get the advice from those persons instead of actually telling the other person. It might hurt if you're accustomed to doing it, but it would be best in the long run. You will see that it's best to just speak to the persons who can actually provide you with advice, rather than someone who's going to, you know, is going to give you something or say something bad about whatever it is that you come up with. Learn to ignore. Obviously ignore what that person says. If you're not telling them and you realize that you're not telling them, and they get away and they start telling you maybe, oh, you used to tell me everything before and you don't anymore, that in itself will show you that they realize, and just ignore what they're saying. Maybe just tell them, I just think I'm trying to do some stuff and I want to keep it to myself, plain and simple. So you keep most of what you want to say to yourself, and you just, you know, don't take the negativity. So try your best to stay away from it if it's not giving you any positive vibe, or stay away from that person. Understand that you cannot change their views on you. You need to understand that that person is, you will try maybe to make the person see you trying to do something good and you're trying to do something beneficial. No matter how much you do that, the way that this person views you is never going to change. or at least it's not going to change through anything you do. That person has to make up their mind to decide, okay, well, maybe I'll give her a chance in life and whatever. I know sometimes it's hard because it's like, yes, you're my family and I want them to be proud of me, but understand that this person's view on you will never change because of something you do. It's only going to change because of them. They need to make the decision to view in a different light. So unless they do that, it's not going to change, and you need to not let that affect you, because again, it will just keep you back. The second is relationships. So we're done on family, the type of family that's toxic. The second is relationships. Way to spot them. Toxic relationship. If the person is constantly, like if you're constantly doing everything, you put time, you put effort, you do everything, and the person just receives, and they're never trying to make the time for you, they're never trying to bring you anywhere, they're never trying to spend anything on you. I'm not saying that money is like you need to spend on the person needs to spend on you. That's not what I'm saying. I'll explain a bit more. But if you know that the relationship is one-sided, where you're doing everything and you're given like 90% and this person is barely pushing a 10, then there's something wrong. Now, I know I said time and all of that. If you know you have a partner who's very busy, you came into it, you need to understand that time is not something that you're going to get as much of. Yes, you will get, because people make time for things that they want to make time for, but it's probably not going to be like your friend's relationship where the person has a 9 to 5, if you know that's not the type of person you're with, or somebody who is not working, or somebody who is self-employed. These people kind of have like more time rather than other people who do different jobs, or people who do two, 3 jobs. They have less time. So you know how much time your significant other can allocate for you. So if they're not doing that at all, that's where you see there's a problem. Not if they're doing it but it's not as much as the people you see around you. So you need to take that into account. So if you see that set of behavior that I mentioned previously is happening and it's one way, of course you have to try to speak to the person, let the person know, voice your opinion, let the person know on your concerns. You're not spending much time with me. If I don't do this, nothing happens. If I don't say this, nothing happens. Is there something wrong? You know, you can talk through it. If you speak through it and then it just continues, just understand that there may be a problem. It may not even be a problem. It's probably the person just isn't that into you. And I know that's hard for people to grasp apparently. No matter how many years, people get tired. And honestly, everybody has this person for them. And to be honest, a lot of people are in relationships because it's easy, or they've been with this person forever, but it's not really what they want. You need to understand that too. I mean, it's going to be hard, but you need to understand that and you need to walk away or end it, because the longer you stay, the more it's going to hit eventually when you decide to leave or they leave, whatever. It's going to hit more, so I think it's best to try to, if you see it's not improving and you know when it's not improving, try to, you don't need to hate the person doesn't need to hate you. But if there's no child involved, you're not married, you're not engaged, maybe you should try to take some time, be single for a while. Maybe it's actually even you. Be single for a while and then, move on, and eventually you'll get that person that person is going to change and see that they didn't do something right, and you'll probably meet up in the future and you'll decide to try again or something of the sort. So sometimes you need to just, give it a break so that it can become better. If there's constant fights for no reason, that's also part of it. If there are constant fights for absolutely no reason, then you know there's something wrong. If you sit, you analyze the situation, you see this is very petty and there's no reason to fight about it, you explain it to this person, and they agree afterwards, but then it still happens another time, then that's also toxic. Doesn't want you to go anywhere without them. If somebody wants to be at your side all the time, there's people who enjoy each other's company, that's fine, but people need to understand relationships are made of 2 people, 2 individuals. If you don't get the space and the time to be an individual and the person wants to see you at every single second, that is toxic, and that can cause more pain if the 2 of you just separate, because they wouldn't know how to live without you. It's like you become another limb and they become another limb to you. So that's very actually scary, and a lot of young people, I think you should understand this. Your significant other doesn't have to be everywhere that you are, and you don't have to be everywhere that they are. Men need to spend time with their male friends, their friends, period. Women need to spend time with their friends. People need time alone. People need to be able to be alone, stay with their thoughts. People just need to have their chill time. And young couples, I see that a lot with them. Guys need to understand that you're not an extra limb. You came out of your womb alone, because there's a lot of people who are not twins, and twins is not like you came out of the womb alone. You need to be by yourself sometimes, and the person needs to be by themselves sometimes. Give the guys their time for football, to play game, to hang out with their friends, to do whatever. You do not need to be there. Not every guy who decides they want to go out with their friends is cheating on you. Honestly, if you think that and you probably have proof, the guy probably just is cheating on you, and it doesn't matter where he goes, he's probably still gonna do it. So maybe you should check into your relationship and not your freedom. So, but if this person is constantly all over you and doesn't want you to do anything on your own, that's immaturity, and honestly, it can lead to a lot of problems down the line, and it's something that you should try to avoid as much as possible. I'm not saying don't go anywhere with your person, but just understand that there's time for yourself, there's time for family, there's time for friends, where that person does not need to be there. Persons who always want to be right, another toxic trait. It is impossible for one individual in a relationship to always be right. And if you find yourself always apologizing and always saying that you're sorry, even when you know deep down you're not wrong, that is an issue. That person might be a narcissist, and that again is a whole different topic. That person might be a narcissist, and that is going to cause a lot of problems and maybe cause physical altercations. Maybe that person is going to try to manipulate you into a lot of things. If you start questioning yourself a lot, then that is a form of manipulation and narcissism. This person is probably beginning to control you, and once you start losing yourself, you know it's never good from there. You must always maintain your individuality in any relationship. If you cannot find what defines you while you're with another person, something is wrong, and you need to take some time and think of what that thing is, and if that thing is that person, period, you need to let go of them. That is a very serious thing. I think a lot of people, couples old and young, are stuck in. They don't even realize it. When your voice becomes one, and not in a cute way, when your voice is no longer yours and it's just an echo of the other person, man or woman, something is wrong. You need to fix that and probably get away from that person. Again, narcissism comes to play with the next step, which is they don't apologize. We're all human and we all make mistakes. Like, you cannot be in a relationship where the person never apologizes, even if they do something that's blatantly wrong. Like, there's never a sorry that comes from their mouth, and a genuine sorry that comes from their mouth. They always think that, I don't need to apologize, or you probably took it wrong, or you probably did this wrong, or anybody who blames everybody but themselves, another narcissistic trait. That is very, very scary, and I think maybe I will do a video on narcissism, but it's something that can affect you really, really, really bad. I know someone, a relative, who went through that, and honestly it really messed them up, and it was a very long time relationship, years and whatnot, and it messed them up. So I think a lot of people should probably see and be able to recognize those traits before entering into those relationships, because it can take some years from you that you don't even realize, and cause you to probably end up in a very bad depression or depressive state if you end up leaving this person, or they leave you actually, and you just can't even remember who you are. It's just really sad. The outcome is honestly really sad. So if you see those traits, you should probably try to fix them by speaking to the person, and if they're not fixable and that's just who the person is and you're not comfortable with it, you need to leave. The person is very harsh is also another tip. Well, not tip, but another point. If the person is very harsh and they don't give you any encouragement, like anything you say you want to do, just like a toxic family member or friend, anything you say you want to do, they basically tell you not to do it. When they try to correct you or give you advice, they get really harsh. Your significant other is supposed to be able to be soft with you, even if they're not like that on the streets or with other people. They're supposed to be able to be some sort of softness to them, and man or woman, and if they can't give you any form of encouragement or any form of criticism, positive criticism, without being harsh or without being blatantly rude or disrespectful, again, narcissism, and that is actually a form of abuse. That is verbal abuse that nobody needs to go through. And I say nobody, and I really mean it, because a lot of women verbally abuse the men that they are with, and that is disgusting, and that needs to stop. Not because he's a man means he can take everything that you say. He has feelings, he's a human being. You don't need to be rude to him just because it's how you are. That nasty trend that women are all over being rude and unapologetically blunt, that's not cute. Stop that. That's not cute. That's disgusting. You need to stop, because honestly, that man gonna cheat on you anyways. I said it. He's going to cheat because he's probably going to get somebody else who will understand him, who will be soft with him, who will provide encouragement in a way that's not harsh or selfish, and he will appreciate it, and he'll probably end up going there anyway. So I'm not saying that's how to avoid your man from cheating, but honestly, some women, they look for it. You might not agree. I don't care. It's my opinion. But some women look for it because men have simple needs. Emotional support is one of those. Women need to learn how to do that, because a lot of them are failing at that, and it's causing men to turn into the niggas that they're saying. So, that's something we should work on, females, okay? Work on that, females. I'm rooting for you. I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying. So there are tips to that for when you have a toxic relationship and you realize that you probably want to get out of it, and you see all those traits in this person. First thing, try your best to do things on your own. Ask the person, of course, speak to your significant other, tell them, I just need some time to, do things on my own. I want to go out on my own. I want, maybe if you go in there every weekend, I want to maybe change it to every other weekend. If I go out, you don't necessarily have to be there, Discuss time on your own. If they don't give it to you, you need to take it. Stop doing every single thing with them. Do some things with your girls. Plan to do things with your girls, and go ahead and do it. Do things with your guy friends. Go ahead and do it. So get time on your own. Get invited, or what? Oh, I can't understand my own writing. So sad. Get into things that brings you joy. So do little hobbies. Get into different events. Get into different pleasures that bring you joy. Just get into these things and do them on your own. When you start enjoying your own company, even if the person is still there, it becomes easier for when you leave, because you don't feel that I can't do anything without someone with me thing anymore. You'll be able to start making yourself understand and enjoy the feeling of being able to do it on your own. So it's easier when you actually go and you do it on your own. Visit the person less frequently. So as I said earlier, if you go there every weekend, you should try every other weekend. If it's every week, try every other week. So just put some space and time between you and the person, so you will be able to enjoy that time alone and be able to experience it before you actually leave. In case it does not work out and you have to leave, you would be able to think around that. If you have all those traits in this person, every single thing there, and they don't listen and they don't try to understand it, and they basically tell you no, nothing's wrong with us, you need to leave. Bounce. You actually need to leave, because this person is going to get worse. And honestly, I think, I'm not a psychologist, this is my opinion, but from a lot of relationships that I see, when you ask people you ask them the details and stuff, honestly, a lot of them started out like this, and then it became physical. So that person started to physically abuse them, and then it's too late, and they sometimes end up being pregnant or stuff like that, because the person doesn't want to let them go so much, so they do things to make sure that they don't. So before that happens, before the physical, before you end up getting caught with a child and stuff like that, you need to get the strength and the encouragement. If you have to speak to a friend all the time or someone so that you can get the strength, you need to leave, because honestly, I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. It's sad, but it's actually true. And now the last group that I broke it down into is friends. I will do this pretty quickly because it has a lot of stuff that the others have. So the first one is they never want you to do anything, just as in family. Everything you do, there's a problem, or they tell you, I don't think you should do it, I don't think you should go into this, into that. That's one sign they ain't right for you. That person is constantly belittling you. Another thing, they always tell you, maybe you're not smart enough, or you're not good looking enough, or you're not whatever it is you want to do, and they tell you not whatever it is enough. That person is, and they're saying it, that they're saying that as a friend. That's belittling anyone is actually never a good thing. You shouldn't do it, period. So if your own friend is doing it, there's a problem. They like to throw shade. Just as I said, every single thing, they like to throw shade. And the thing is, they do it and they laugh. So that's how you really know. You think it's a joke, they say it as a joke, but they say it all the time. That's when it's a problem. Because someone can throw shade just to play with you, but to say it all the time, that's an issue. You need to, not say it all the time, If you say it and like I say, you know what, I didn't appreciate that you said that, the person needs to be able to apologize genuinely and tell you, oh, I was just playing with you, I didn't realize it would have affected you like that, and learn to never do it again. If that's not the case and you keep doing it, another trait. Anybody who gossips with you will gossip about you. Gossiping. Any friend who is a positive individual should not have time to gossip, to be honest. Now, if that's all they like to do and always speak about somebody else, best believe they're speaking about you with somebody else too. That person, you need to be very careful with that person. Not saying to let them go, but you just need to be careful with that person, because they're gonna talk about you with somebody else. Anybody else who gives them a listen air, they're probably gonna talk about you too. The next one is they refuse to better themselves. People who refuse to better themselves and then they don't want you to do it are usually people who are very toxic, because they're jealous of where you would become. I mentioned that I think in my second or first video. They're very jealous of where you're going to become, so they think they're good and comfortable in their position and they don't want to go any further, so they don't want you to go any further either. You can tell that these persons never have any good advice to give, to be honest, and they're just stuck in their comfort zone. That person may not even realize that they're toxic, but they actually are. So they're unintentionally toxic, and they pass it on to you by trying to tell you, no, you don't need to go anywhere, you don't need to go to school, you don't need to think of something else, you have a job, why do you want to make more money? You can party, you don't need it. These people are toxic and sometimes they don't realize it. But maybe you should, for these people, you can tell them that they are, and we'll explain, try to better themselves, try to help them better themselves. If not, they need to go. So the tips for that is the very same thing actually as all distance, which I mentioned, so you don't need to go back through that. Speak to the person about it. If they don't want to listen, there's a problem though. Block out their negativity, block out their opinions. Every time they give you an opinion that you know is going to be some negative, just ignore it, or don't even ask for it, period. Don't do it. And then the final thing is to stop hanging around that person. It might be hard. You know, you have friends for a donkey years or whatever, but honestly, years really and truly is overrated. The amount of time you spend with someone does not justify your reason to be around the person if the person is not good for you. Like, if the person is, do you stay with this person or not? But if they're not, and they're not learning, and they're not becoming better, and they're not trying to fix whatever it is that they're doing to harm you, anybody who loves you, friend, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, will not do anything they know is harming you or hurting you in any way possible. Now, I just want to throw in a little note. We need to sometimes realize that we are the toxic people. Honestly, some of us are toxic, we have those traits, and we try our best to pretend that we don't, but we have those traits. So I think we need to sometimes take some time, ask yourself some questions, ask yourself if you fall under these categories there to any of your friends. If you do, you need to learn how to stop that. You need to, hold back on some things you say. Think, stop for a couple of seconds and think of what you're going to say, people. Try your best to encourage your friends around you. Take some time and say, you know what, for one day, one person throughout the day that I interact with, I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to tell them something good. I'm going to give them a compliment. I'm going to be nice. It will become genuine, and promise you, if you tell somebody something, you notice something. We always notice things about people. You notice the person has a nice smile. Hey, you have a beautiful smile. Encourage the person. That helps you get rid of the toxic ways that you have. Practice things that will bring positive energy to not just your day, but to other people's day. Practice giving people compliments. Practice saying nice things to people. Practice doing a nice gesture for someone. Practice just trying to provide positivity to people, and if you do that, it becomes a habit. As I always say, things become a habit, and you eventually realize that you're more of an uplifting person. And maybe you didn't realize that you were bringing anybody down, but at least you'd realize it now, and then you're trying to become a better person. And that's really all that matters. People do things, we have past, people do things and sometimes don't realize it, but the minute you do, honestly, if you're a friend to anybody, they value your opinion, they value what you have to say about them. Try your best to make them feel comfortable all the time, because you don't know people's internal battles, you don't know what they're going through. So try your best to be a good friend, no matter to whom. Once you're someone's friend, be good. I promise you, it goes a long way. And with that is actually the end of the video, which I said would have been short, but I think this is like a 13-minute long video. I do hope that you stay all the way to the end, and if you did, thank you so much for watching. Again, you can follow me on my socials, which will be put up. I will also put the description in the bottom. Please remember to sign a petition of whichever link that I put. If you cannot contribute monetarily, please just sign a petition so that they could get the signatures that they need for whichever law that they wish to be passed. And that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your morning, evening, or night, and stay tuned for my next video, which is actually the constant use of mental disorders. It's quite interesting actually, and someone actually asked me to do this video. I'll put the person's name in the description when I do the video, but somebody actually asked me to do this, so I will have that video next week. I hope you guys are really interested in that next video. If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already, and thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.